Well, good evening there, ladies and gentlemen. This is Scott Manning coming to you live from Scott Manning YouTube Sports Talk. I want to thank all my loyal viewers for being with me here tonight. You're going to have to kind of excuse my voice a little bit. I do have a cold, so you're going to have to kind of bear with me. But anyway, we have a lot to talk about tonight. We have a great show ahead of us. And I want to thank you guys so much for being with me here tonight. This is going to be a great show. I got 5 big games on the slate for this week. 4 on Saturday, and then we got a main event on Sunday. I'm going to bring you up to date on some of the latest conference races. The Duke Blue Devils are going to hit a rough stretch. And the Kansas Jayhawks just got more bad news than what they needed at the moment. So let's go ahead, jump right to the show, and let's have a great time. Here we go. All right. Number 19, Wisconsin faces number 7, Michigan on Sunday. Now, you guys remember what happened in the last meeting. Wisconsin beat Michigan 64-54 in Madison. This time, the game's at the Chrysler Arena in Ann Arbor. Now, if you think about it, last time, Michigan was not prepared for what Wisconsin and great guards brought them. But now you keep in mind, Wisconsin is coming off of a close win over Minnesota, 56-51. Ethan Happ, 15 points, 13 rebounds. But the Badgers have won 6 in a row. And you can thank Ethan Happ and Dimitri Trice for that. Wisconsin coach Greg Gard said after the Minnesota game, we played that game a little too close for our comfort. We got to play better. We got Michigan coming up, and they're the top dog in the Big Ten right now. And there's a lot to think about there, too. All right. Now, Ethan Happ, 18.3 points per game, very impressive. He shoots 55% from the field. I'm not going to bore you with all the numbers. Dimitri Trice, he's another guy to look out for. He leads the team with the most assists with 2.7 assists per game. And wait a minute, actually, Ethan Happ leads all categories. 18.3 points per game, 10.4 rebounds per game, and 5.1 assists per game. But Dimitri Trice in a supporting role has been pretty good himself. 13.4 points per game. He averages 44% from three-point land. And they're going to need all those threes if they want to beat Michigan for a second time this season. Now, as far as Michigan goes, they're coming off of a big win over Rutgers, 77-65. Xavier Simpson had 14.7 rebounds and 7 assists. Jordan Poole, 15 points. Charles Matthews, 11 points. But I will say this, though. John Beilein did say after the game, we played our hearts out. We did what we had to do. We played our hearts out all game long, and we got the job done. Now, Xavier Simpson leads the team with an assist. He averages 9.2 points per game and 6 assists per game. He does shoot 43.5% from the field, and they're going to need every bit of one of those field shots if they want to beat Wisconsin. John Teske, he may only average 8.8 points per game, but he does average 6.3 rebounds per game, and he shoots 51% from the field. I haven't forgot about him either. Ingis Brazidakis leads the team with 15.5 points per game, 5.5 rebounds per game, and he also shoots 46.9% from the field. He shoots 78% from the free throw line. They're going to need every single one of those. And he shoots 39.8% from beyond the arc. Now, this is going to be an interesting game on Saturday. Here's why. If you look at the team numbers, remember what happened last time. The Basketball Power Index gave Michigan every shot of winning. Then Wisconsin pulled off the upset. Could it happen again? Now, Wisconsin averages 71.4 points per game. Michigan, 71.1 points per game. From the field, Wisconsin's better. 47.2% from the field to 44.9% from the field for Michigan. At the free throw line, and this is key, at the free throw line, Michigan may only be averaging 68.4% from the free throw line. Wisconsin's average is 66.1%. Now, what Michigan needs to avoid, they cannot get into a three-ball contest because Wisconsin leads the team, because Wisconsin averages 39.7% from the three-point line to Michigan's 35%. So what Michigan needs to do, this game needs to be decided at the free throw line. If it's decided in the field, it's fairly close. If it's decided from three-point land, not so much. So here's what needs to happen. Xavier Simpson needs to put about 15, 20 points on the board. Ingis Brazidakis, one of their team leaders, he's going to have to prove that he's a team leader and try to stop Ethan Happ and Dimitri Trice. Not an easy proposition. But the bottom line is, The rematch that everybody, the second go around, the rematch between Wisconsin and Michigan is going to be well worth the price of admission this coming Saturday. And that's all I'm going to say about that at the moment. Now keep in mind, the Wisconsin-Michigan game is a 12 noon game on Fox. The 2:30 game between Villanova and Marquette, the Big East race, they've opened up a little bit. Now Villanova's opened up just a little bit more daylight in the Big East race. Now let's talk about Villanova-Marquette. Villanova's needed overtime to beat Creighton the other night, 66-59. Sadiq Bey, 17 points. Phil Booth, 14 points, 8 rebounds. Eric Paschal, 15 points. Excuse me. Now, Villanova coach Jay Wright said after the Creighton game, I think some of our kids were thinking ahead to Marquette. He may have been right. But Villanova does have 3 watch guys on their list. Phil Booth leads the team. With 4 assists per game. That's very important. He does average 15.3 points per game, and he can shoot almost 75% from the free throw line. Eric Paschal leads the team with points and rebounds per game. 17.3 points per game, 6.3 rebounds per game. He shoots 45.7% from the field. He shoots 76% at the free throw line. Colin Gillespie, watch out for him. He leads the team from the free throw line at 82.9%. That could be very important. He does average 12.1 points per game, and he shoots almost 42% from beyond the arc. That could be huge. Now, Marquette is coming off of a bad loss to St. John, 70-69. Marquette coach Steve Wojciechowski said after the game, we gave that game away. I'm not very happy with our kids. We could have played better. Bottom line, I'm going to tell you right now, I was not very happy with our performance late in the going, and that's all there was to it. Now, Marcus Howard, I got him on my wooden watch list. 24.6 points per game, and he leads the team with the most assists with 4.2 assists per game. Watch out for him at the free throw line. He shoots 91.3%. I would want him at the line with a free throw to win the ball game. Sam Hauser, 15.7 points per game. He leads the team with rebounds for 7 rebounds per game. And he can also shoot 90% at the free throw line. Look out for him. Sam's brother Joey, he may only average 10.4 points per game. He shoots 48% from the field. He also shoots 47.1% from three-point land. He's also an 83.68% free throw shooter. Look out for him. Those are the guys I have on my watch list. Bottom line. Let me grab a quick swig of something here. Here we go. Now, Marquette and Villanova. The Big East is on the line. Now, Marquette has opened up Villanova's opened up a 2-game lead in the Big East race. That's all there is to it. Marquette, by far, is the better team. And that's why Marquette has a better chance of winning this ball game. Right now, Marquette is averaging 79 points per game, 46% from the field, 77% at the free throw line, and 39.5% from three-point land. Now, Villanova's had some struggles. Now, Villanova, they do average 76.3 points per game. That can be very important. They shoot 45.4% from the field. This game is in the field, it's going to be close. If this game is decided at the free throw line, give it to Marquette because Villanova's only averaging 71.9% from the free throw line right now. And from three-point land, Villanova's averaging 36.4%. And that could be a very important game coming up tomorrow. Excuse me. Okay. Now we've gone from the Big Ten to the Big East. Let's go to the ACC. All right. Number 16 Louisville versus number 22 Florida State. Keep in mind, Louisville's coming off of a big win over Virginia Tech 72-64. Ryan McMahon had 17 points. Dwayne Sutton had 17 points, 9 rebounds. Jordan Nowa, 15 points, 8 rebounds in that game. What a game it was for them. Louisville coach Chris Mack said after that game, I was very happy with the way our team played. We came ready to go. We knocked off number 11 Virginia Tech. I was very happy with our team's performance. Now let's bring on Florida State and do it again. Now, before you guys get carried away and say, Louisville's got this game won, Florida State, don't let them fool you. Florida State's coming off of a big 80-62 victory over Syracuse this past week. Terrence Mann, 22 points. Mufamdu Kanagle, 18 points. Also, too, Florida State coach Leonard Hamilton said, we're ready for Louisville. We're ready to try to get ourselves back into the ACC race. We may not be able to win the regular season, but look out for us in the conference tournament. Those were Leonard Hamilton's words, not mine. So think about that. Now, I got some guys on the watch list. Mufamdu Kanagle, 13.2 points per game. He averages 5.2 rebounds per game. He shoots almost 52% from the field. That's very important. And almost 43% from beyond the arc. Terrence Mann, 11.9 points per game. He does average 6.7 rebounds per game. He shoots 52.5% from the field and almost 43% from three-point land. And he does average at 77.8% at the free throw line. Trent Forrest leads the team in assists. He averages 4 assists per game, and he does average 9.1 points per game. He shoots 44% from the field, not bad. But he's also a 77.4% free throw shooter. So there's something to keep in mind there as well. Now, who do you give this game to when it comes right down to the team numbers? No, hold on here. Now, when it comes right down to it, who do you give the advantage to? A lot of people are saying Louisville, but hold on. This game's going to be very close because Louisville's average is 78.8 points per game. Florida State's average is 77 points per game. This is going to be close. And if this game is decided in the field, it's a toss-up. Because right now, Louisville's average is 76.5%, 45.6% from the field. Florida State, 45.3%. So it's literally a toss-up. At the free throw line, advantage Louisville. 76.5% for Louisville at the free throw line to 70.4% at the free throw line for Florida State. If this gets into a three-ball contest, give it to Louisville. 36.2% for Louisville to 33.8% for Florida State. So all in all, this game is almost a virtual toss-up. So let's think about this. What can Florida State do to pull off the upset? First, they got to stop Jordan Nowa. Then they got to stop Christian Cunningham. I forgot about him either, and Dwayne Sutton. And they need to get one of those three guys into foul trouble early. And that's something to think about. And that's not going to be easy to do. On Louisville's side of the ball, they've got to get Florida State into a three-point contest, or they got to decide this game at the free throw line. And that's all there is to it. Excuse me. Well, I will say this, though. It's going to come down to whoever wants it the most. And the bottom line is, this game is going to be close all night long. And don't forget, Louisville has a shot at winning the ACC crown. So there's something to think about there as we go forward. All right. Now, let's talk about the Saturday night main event. Number 2, Duke. Number 3, Virginia. Woo, boy, that's going to be fun there tomorrow night. Duke is coming off of a huge victory, 80-55 over Boston College. Cam Reddish, 24 points. Zion Williams, 16.7 rebounds. R.J. Barrett, 19 points. You already know about the guys on the watch list for both teams. I'm not going to bore you with that. Coach K said after the game, we're ready for Virginia. We know we're going to have a battle on Saturday night versus Virginia. And Virginia coach Tony Bennett said, get ready for a rumble on Saturday night. If we can get Duke to play our kind of basketball, we have a shot. Now you know about Trey Jones, R.J. Barrett, Zion Williams, and Cam Reddish. The 4 of the starting 5 are diaper dandies, in the words of Dickie V. Now I'm not able to impersonate Dick Vitale tonight because of my cold. Now, watch out for DeAndre Hunter for For Virginia, Kyle Guy, look out for him, Ty Jerome, and Braxton Key. Don't forget about him either. He may only average 7.1 points per game, 5.9 rebounds per game. He shoots 81.4% at the free throw line. That can be very important. Now, who do you give this game to? You're thinking, Duke's averaging 87 points per game. Hands down, give it to Duke. And not only Virginia may only be averaging 72.9 points per game. Hold everything. Hold it. Here's some things here I've noticed. Duke's shooting 48.6% from the field. Virginia's shooting 47.7%. But if it comes down to a three-point contest or if this game is decided at the free throw line, give it to Virginia because Duke hasn't shown me much of anything. Right now, Duke's averaging 67.6% from the free throw line and from beyond the arc, they're only averaging 30.8%. Not very good. If this game is decided in the field or in the paint, it's a toss-up because like I said, Duke's averaging 48.6% from the field. The Virginia's 47.7%. So this is going to be a close one, and it may come down to the final moments and to be decided at the horn. And I'm going to tell you now, this game is going to be well worth the watching. Tomorrow night at 6 o'clock Eastern time, and with everything on the line, and everything's been going on. This game may decide who wins the ACC regular season. But don't forget about North Carolina. They play tomorrow too. I have not forgot about them at all. Now, we've gone from the Big East to the ACC. We've gone from the Big Ten to the Big East to the ACC. Now, let's go outside our comfort zone a little bit to the American Athletic Conference because we got a Sunday main event. Number 25 Cincinnati faces number 12 Houston. Hold on a second. All right. Number 25 Cincinnati faces number 12 Houston tomorrow. This game is going to be interesting because Cincinnati's come off a huge win over Memphis, 69-64. Jaron Cumberland, 17.6 rebounds, 6 assists. Justin Jennifer, 14 points, 2 assists, 2 big steals in that game. Trey Scott, 13 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists. That was a huge win. That was huge. Cincinnati coach Mick Cronin said after the game, our team stepped up in the best way possible. We got the job done tonight against Memphis. Now bring on Houston because that's going to be the toughest test we're going to have all season. Now, as far as Houston goes, they don't get enough credit. Houston doesn't get enough credit for only having one loss because of the conference they're in. Houston coach Kelvin Sampson said after the victory over UCF, 77-68, he said, bring on Cincinnati. I think we can knock them off. I really think we can. Now, here's some players on the watch list for Cincinnati. Jaron Cumberland, 18.6 points per game. He does lead the team with 3.6 assists per game. He does average 76.3% at the free throw line. He shoots almost 42% from beyond the arc. That could be huge. Keith Williams, he may only average 10.9 points per game, but he can shoot 49.5% from the field. Trey Scott, he leads the team with the most rebounds per game with 6.4. He may average 9.5 points per game, but he shoots almost 51% from the field. All right. For the Houston Cougars, Corey Davis Jr., think about him. 15.5 points per game. He averages almost 42% from the field. And he shoots 89% at the free throw line. That can be very important. Amari Brooks, 14.3 points per game. He had 14.7 rebounds in the Houston's victory over UCF. Oh, and before I forget, Corey Davis Jr. did have 26 points, 5 rebounds in their victory over UCF. Think about that too. Now, Amari Brooks, he's another guy on the watch list. 14.3 points per game. He does lead the team in rebounds with 6.2 rebounds per game. He may only shoot 39% from three-point land and 39.4% from the field. The one thing that concerns me, though, 63.2% at the free throw line. That's one thing that really worries me. Now, Galen Robinson Jr., we haven't forgot about him either. He leads the team with 5.4 assists per game. And he does average 8.3 points per game, and he shoots 43% from the field. That could be huge tomorrow in this ball game. So that's something to think about too. So, with everything on the line and all these ball games tomorrow, or with the 4 games on Saturday and the 1 on Sunday, everybody's thinking, there's a lot at stake. Everybody's correct. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to come down to whoever wants it the most. Now, the conference races are getting close. Now, I've talked about all the games here. I got the conference races right now, where everything is on the line. We only got we're less than about 2 to 3 weeks away from conference tournament mania, where it's going to get crazy. Now, with everything on the line, it's going to be very interesting to see how everything goes. And let's talk about some of these conference races. Hold on before we do. Now, let's talk about some of these conference races. Houston, I can see them winning the American Athletic. I'm going to give them a yes, but I am going to go ahead and put a flat line. Because they got to face Cincinnati. Cincinnati, the same thing. Now, the Temple Owls are coming off of a bad loss to Cincinnati. That did not help them any. So is it safe to cross them out? Probably so. UCF, same thing. Barring any sort of miracle, barring any sort of strange nightmare in college basketball, just about anything can happen. Now let's move on to the ACC. Virginia, Duke, the top 2 teams in the conference are going to go at it. I will definitely give them a yes and a shot at winning the ACC crown. But I'll go ahead and put a flat line next to them too, because they got to face off tomorrow. North Carolina, they have an easy game against Miami, so I'll go ahead and say they have a shot at the conference title. Louisville, what about the Louisville Cardinals? I'm going to give them a shot at it. Virginia Tech, they're just a little bit weak right now. They got 3 losses. I'm going to flatline them. Syracuse, same thing. Nothing against O'Shea Brissett, Jim Boeheim and company, but Syracuse has got 3 losses already in conference play along with Virginia Tech. And Syracuse faces Duke here in a couple of weeks. And you know they're going to want revenge. There's something to think about there too. Now, Virginia and Duke face off tomorrow. That's going to be the big matchup of the day. North Carolina, I think, has an easy game against Miami. Louisville's got to face Florida State. If Louisville loses that game tomorrow, you can cross them out. Excuse me. It's going to be very interesting to see how the ACC goes the rest of the way. Virginia, Duke, they have a shot. North Carolina, Louisville, if Virginia and Duke lose a couple games anywhere, there's still a possibility, a very slim one, that Louisville can jump in and take it away. I've seen stranger things happen. And I've seen bizarre things happen over the years. And if you guys think this is my first rodeo, I got news for you. It's not. Now let's move on to the Big 12. Now, Kansas State, yes, I will give them a shot at winning the Big 12 crown. After knocking off Kansas, after what Xavier Steen and Barry Brown Jr. did on Tuesday or Wednesday night, I'm going to give them a shot. Iowa State, a definite yes. Now, they're a half game back, but I'm going to give them a chance because if Kansas State loses somewhere, Iowa State can jump in and take it away. Baylor, they got a little bit of work to do, but I will give them a shot, but I will go ahead and give them a flat line because Baylor has some work to do. Now, as far as Kansas goes, Kansas is a lock for the tournament. However, as far as the Big 12 regular season goes, I'm going to cross them out because think about it. They're 1-6 in conference. They're 1-6 on the road. They're 2-4 in their last 6 games. Not very good. The road record, the last 6 games have been a nightmare. The road record for the Jayhawks has gone pathetic. And on top of that, Kansas got more bad news. And I'll get to that here in a few minutes. But as far as Texas Tech goes, same thing. I'm going to cross them out because they haven't shown me much of anything. Nothing against Jared Colbert, but they haven't shown me much of anything either. So believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, as far as I'm concerned, and yes, you can say it right now, the Big 12 champion is going to be coming out of the pack. This is the year of the pack in the Big 12. Kansas, 6-4, 4 losses in conference play. The Jayhawks have been playing very unlike Kansas basketball. They're playing un-Kansas-like right now. These are the Jayhawks that have won 14 in a row. Does the streak end this year? I'm going to say yes, because their road record has shown it. In their last 6 games, they're only 2-4. For crying out loud. I mean, they lose to Kentucky. They lost to Kansas State the other night. They get embarrassed by West Virginia on the road in Morgantown. I haven't forgot about that either. So am I going to cross out Kansas for winning the Big 12? Yes, I am. And you can go to the bank with this, ladies and gentlemen. The Big 12 champion is going to come out of the pack. Bottom line. All right. Let's move on to the Big 10. Let's think about this for a minute. Michigan, hottest team in the conference right now. I'm going to give them a shot at winning the Big 10 championship because Xavier Simpson, Charles Matthews, they've shown me a lot. Yes, they got a big matchup against Purdue. So I'm going to go ahead and they got a big matchup against Wisconsin tomorrow, so guess what? I'm going to give Wisconsin a shot at winning the Big 10 crown, but I am going to go ahead and flatline them because of that, because there's a lot at stake tomorrow. And I'm going to do the same thing for Michigan, too. Demetric Trice, Ethan Happ for Wisconsin versus Xavier Simpson, Charles Matthews, and Jordan Poole of Wisconsin. What about Purdue? They're sitting a half game back in the conference right now. Do they have a shot? Yes, they do. Purdue, I'm going to say yes, they have a shot at winning the conference. But the question is, what about Michigan State? Michigan State, they've lost 3 games in a row. They've lost to Purdue, Indiana, and then they get embarrassed by Illinois. Now Michigan State plays Minnesota tomorrow. So despite losing 3 in a row, am I ready to cross them out? Not yet. But I am going to go ahead and give them a flat line because they've lost 3 in a row, and they haven't shown me much of anything at all. They get embarrassed by Illinois on the road. Then and before that, they lose to Indiana at home. You can't lose home games like that. And these are the same Indiana Hoosiers that are sitting on the outside looking in as far as the NCAA tournament field goes. What about Maryland? Cross them out. After getting embarrassed by Wisconsin a couple weeks ago, the Maryland Terrapins haven't shown me much of anything. So really, if you think about it, the Big Ten race has gone down to 3 teams. Michigan, Purdue, and Wisconsin. One of those 3 teams will win the Big Ten championship. And there's a strange thing. Wisconsin, if they beat Michigan tomorrow, you better look out because they can have a possibility. They can jump in and take it away. It's not over yet by a long shot. Bottom line. And I'm going to say this. Purdue hasn't shown me much. And here's the thing. Carson Edwards is the reason why Purdue is where they're at right now. They better be thanking him very dearly. All right, let's move on to the SEC race. Tennessee, LSU, and Kentucky. LSU suffered a tough loss to Arkansas last weekend, so I'm going to go ahead and flatline them as any chance to win the SEC crown. Tennessee, all you need to know is Grant Williams and Emerald Schofield. Yes, they're going to win the SEC crown. But the question is, if they lose somewhere, can Kentucky jump in and take it away because they got Tyler Hero, Keldon Johnson? I think they can jump in and take it away, but I am going to go ahead and put a flat line next to it because of the 1 loss in conference play. And here's the thing. Nothing against LSU, but they haven't shown me much of anything. They get embarrassed by Arkansas. I know that sounds bad, but they did. And here's the deal. LSU hasn't shown me much of anything, bottom line. So it's going to come down to Tennessee and Kentucky for the SEC crown. So once again, to repeat, as far as the American Athletic Conference goes, Houston and Cincinnati, they're going to be the winner of this game may win the conference, may win the American Athletic. The ACC, it's literally almost a virtual toss-up. Virginia Duke have important games tomorrow. Virginia Duke face off tomorrow night. Louisville faces Florida State in a very important game. North Carolina, they have a very important matchup as well. Virginia Tech and Syracuse, they still have an outside chance, a way outside chance of they can still jump in and take it away with just a few weeks to go. Anything can happen, and it usually does. And as far as the Big 12 goes, it's down to 3 teams. Kansas State, Iowa State, and Baylor. Yes, I will say it one more time. I have crossed out the Kansas Jayhawks with any chance of winning the Big 12 because it's very simple. 1-6 on the road, 2-4 in their last 6 games. And they've gotten more bad news. And I'm going to get to that bad news right now for the Kansas Jayhawks. The other day, Kansas has announced that LaGerald Vick, one of their best guards, is taking a leave of absence from the team for personal matters. His mom wants him home in Memphis. His mom basically said, "I need La Vick home." I guess it's a personal matter. I don't know what's going on, but let's think about this for a minute. This is a big loss for Kansas. LaGerald Vick was averaging 14.1 points per game, 4 rebounds per game. He's shooting 45.5% from beyond the arc. But in the 6 losses, he's only been averaging 10 points per game. He's shooting 32.4% from beyond the arc. This is the last thing that Bill Self needed right now. And here's why. Udoka Azubuike, hand injury, out for the season. Silvio De Sousa, out because of NCAA eligibility issues. Marcus Garrett's missed the last 2 games because of an ankle injury. This is why, one of the many reasons, this is one of the reasons why I have crossed off Kansas as with any chance of winning the Big 12. And I'm going to tell you right now, with Azubuike out, De Sousa out because of his guardian taking money, and Marcus Garrett missing the last 2 games because of an ankle injury, poor Bill Self, my heart goes out to him. It's a miracle that his hair hasn't gone as gray as my old man's. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not very happy. Kansas is not going to win. This is one of the many reasons why Kansas ain't going to win the Big 12. 1-6 on the road, 2-4 in their last 6 games, and now this. Vick's out. Vick's taking leave from the team. Azubuike's out. De Sousa suspended from the NCAA. Marcus Garrett's missed the last 2 games. So that's one of the many reasons why I have crossed out Kansas of having any shot at winning the Big 12 crown. And that's all there is to it. Now, if you think Kansas has it tough, Duke's got it even a little bit more tougher. The Duke Blue Devils hit a rough 6-game stretch. Starting with Virginia, then they got to face Louisville on Tuesday night. Then they got NC State on the 16th on a Saturday. Then they got to face North Carolina on the 20th on my sister's birthday. Then they got to face Syracuse on the 23rd. Then they got Virginia Tech on the 26th. According to the Basketball Power Index, the BPI only gives the Duke Blue Devils an 8% chance of winning all 6 games. And the Basketball Power Index gives Duke a 63% chance to lose multiple games. Now at Virginia, they only have a 33% chance. Duke only has a 33% chance of beating Virginia. So let's go ahead and mark that down. I'll go ahead and put a flat line next to that. Louisville on the 12th, they got a 70% chance. I'll give them a shot and I'll put a check mark next to it. NC State, they've been going in the wrong direction here lately. According to Joe Lenardi, they got NC State on the 10 line. They'll probably be one of the last 4 in the way they're playing right now, so I'll put a check next to that. North Carolina, the big rivalry game. North Carolina, that's the big rivalry game. They have a 79% chance of winning it. You know what? I'm going to put a flat line next to it because it is a rivalry game and anything can happen. Syracuse. You know Duke's going to want Syracuse. They want to get revenge after losing a camera indoor earlier in the year. But I think Syracuse can beat them at the Carrier Dome. If they can beat them on the road, what makes you think they can beat them at home? So I'm going to for now, I'm going to put a flat line next to it. But as far as Virginia Tech, I'll give them a shot. They have a 59% chance, but I'll give them a shot. So if you think about it, I have Duke losing 3 games, only going 3-3 because they face Virginia on Saturday. They're a very tough team. North Carolina, it's a rivalry game. Syracuse has beat them. Now Syracuse is beating Duke at Cameron Indoor. Think about that. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for my closing thoughts on this night. Here we go back to the Kansas Jayhawks. Here's the question. What can the Jayhawks possibly do to win the Big 12 crown? Absolutely nothing. In my opinion, there is no formula left for the Jayhawks to win the Big 12 title. That's all there is to it. They've struggled all season. Ever since Azubuike went out with a hand injury and they found out he was gone for the season, that's when everything started to go wrong. I mean, Azubuike got hurt. Sylvia DeSouza got suspended by the NCAA for the remainder of this season, all next season. Marcus Garrett has an ankle injury. And now all of a sudden, LaGerald Vick takes leave of absence from the team. Who's left? Devon Dotson? That's about it. That's about all you can think about. Well, what Barry Brown and Xavier Sneed in Kansas State did to Kansas the other night was something to think about. And I said, when Azubuike went out, I said, we need to think about the pack. Earlier I said, yes, Kansas has a shot at winning the Big 12, but I said Texas Tech would be on their heels. Now, all of a sudden, we need to be thinking about Kansas State taking the Big 12 crown. And don't count Iowa State out either. And I grant you, yes, Kansas is a lock for the NCAA tournament, according to Joe Lunardi. However, Kansas may have a first-round exit with everything that has been going on with them. I've never seen Bill Self be so down in all his career. He's always been so up. But now, things have really changed. He doesn't have Sylvia DeSouza. He hasn't had Marcus Garrett the last 2 games. So is there any formula left that could give Kansas a shot at the Big 12 title? My answer is no. Bottom line, you can go to the bank with that all the way. All right, folks, I'm going to go and get on out of here. I want to thank you guys so much for being with me here tonight. I want to apologize if I had to take so many drinks on my pop and all the coughing and hacking I had to do, but I do admit I did have a cold, and I still got it. But despite all that, I will be back tomorrow night at 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time for the Scott Manning YouTube College Basketball Wrap-Up Show. I will wrap up the Saturday in college basketball, but I want to thank you guys so much for being with me here tonight, despite this cold that I'm going through. And I want to thank you guys so much for being with me here tonight. And I will be back tomorrow night, cold or no cold, and I want to thank you guys for being with me here tonight. Until we meet again tomorrow night, this is Scott Manning saying good night, good luck, and thank you. And I thank you, and good night. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much for being with me, and God bless.